How do you get the same product at different prices in the market? Is that even possible for any product that we know of? Yet, it is very confusing when you come to compare co-working spaces in a particular market. You would find, for example, if you take, let's say, Indiranagar in Bangalore, right? You could get in the same street, in the same, probably even the next adjacent building, somebody else is quoting it at about 9,000 rupees. And just a few blocks away or a few streets away, you might find somebody else quoting it at about 24,000 rupees. So how does this actually work? So co-working space, as you know, would rent or lease out space from a landlord or a developer like a Embassy or a Prestige or a Raheja or so on and so forth. Now they are paying a rent to the landlord, and then they are also paying common area maintenance or CAM as it's called to the landlord. Both of these are on a per square feet level. Then on top of that, once they take up the warm shell, the back office from the landlord, they're going to invest on doing the fit outs. And these fit outs also are amortized over a period of the lease period and converted into a per square feet cost. And then once the space is ready, then there are operational expenses. Now on top of that, they add a margin, and then that margin converted into price is what is given to you as the quote for the office space. Now that's the margin that an operator gets to play with when you negotiate on the pricing with them. Now why do I bring all of that to square feet is where the entire magic or the entire mathematics really actually works. Even though you're not taking that on a dedicated basis, a portion of that is still loaded onto your rent. And the reason is that is the average square feet that they allow to any given seat. So an operator that does a very lavish job of giving you a lot of breathing space between your colleague sitting next to you versus sitting back to you, they might give 60 square feet per desk. Whereas somebody who doesn't packs a lot of seats into the square feet might only give 30 square feet per seat or even lower sometimes. When you take the same square feet area, let's say 10,000 square feet, if you divide that by 35, then you're able to put X number of desks, right? If you divide that by 60, you're going to put less than X number of desks. Where the cost is fixed, right? So when the cost is loaded onto more number of desks is when you pay a 6,000 rupee per month rent. Whereas when you load the same cost onto fewer number of desks, you have the cost then becomes 9,000 rupees. So this is one factor. The other factor why in the same street there is a 6,000 rupee property and there's a 9,000 rupee property is obviously the quality of the fit outs, how much of money they've spent into creating their interiors. But then there's also the age of the building, right? And whether it's a grade A or a grade B building. So which directly affects the rent per square feet that the operator is paying the landlord. So that is the second factor, right? And then the third factor is the age of the fit outs. Let's say it's a new building, it's a new property, it's fresh fit outs, then you pay for fresh fit outs, so you pay a little higher. Whereas if it's a second generation or third generation, so there are clients that have come in and moved out, then the operator is willing to give you a better price because they've already invested on the interiors and then that's already depreciated. So they're okay to negotiate on a much more steeper rate, so they give you a slightly lower rent. So these are the at least three main reasons why you would see what seems like a very standard product, a desk or a seat. You would see a lot of price differences in the market for this reason. So and then the main factor being the loading that happens on the per square feet basis. And then the other factor which I forgot to share is that when certain operators operate from Monday to Friday, certain other operators operate from Monday to Saturday. So there's operating expenses. Obviously when you operate for an extra day, the operational expenses increase, right? So if you are a business that's into Monday to Friday, then you're probably okay with an operator that runs the AC and runs the pantry and runs the housekeeping on Monday to Fridays. But if you're a business that operates Monday to Saturday, then that extra operating hours on Saturday is going to be useful to you, because otherwise if you pay additionally for that amount is going to be quite high. So considering all these 4 or 5 factors is how you arrive at the seat price. In fact, I take an anecdotal example. One of the clients, they were a Monday to Saturday kind of a company, right? And in my opinion, they're being very penny wise and pound foolish by saying, hey, I'm getting this at 6,000 rupees, I'm getting that at 7,500 rupees, I'll go with the 6,000 rupee property, right? But then when you load up other things to it, right? When you load up additional charges that come along with the space, and for operating on Saturday, when you add those additional AC running AHU charges to it, finally the math, when you actually compare apple to apple, they would end up paying 7,800 rupees for what was seemingly a 6,000 rupee per seat property. Whereas here they were getting everything bundled in at 7,500, right? So you cannot do a comparison just at the sticker price. Then an expert can help you in kind of deciphering this and seeing what is the total cost of ownership, and then you compare that to arrive at the right option for your business.